Please give a warm welcome to comedian Jeffrey Gurian.
Thank you. Bernie Furshpan, everybody. Wow, when they say it's a hard club to perform in, it's because you can't get up on the stage. You guys are great. Give yourselves a hand for coming out tonight. Come on, you're fantastic. Because the truth is that you're the most important people here. We tried this once without an audience. It was horrible. Absolutely horrible. I think we even had a name for it, or we called it a rehearsal. That's what it was. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. Anyway, you can probably tell just by looking at me, I fit in wherever I go. I just kind of blend in with every crowd, especially a young, hip crowd like this one. Some of you look doubtful. And I know why. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking if Phil Spector had sex with Elton John, which could actually happen, by the way. People think it's funny if you know what you look like. You want to know what you look like? See how somebody else describes you when they don't know you're around. But if you really want to know what you look like, ask a little kid to describe you. Trust me, you'll want to kill yourself. I asked this little kid to describe me. He looked at me for a minute. He's like, if Phil Spector had sex with Elton John. So I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked. I'm like, you're a little kid. How do you even know Phil Spector and Elton John? He said, Google, bitch. Then he took it one step further. He said, you look like you wandered away from a rock concert in 1968 during a particularly intense acid trip. And I was like, that's amazing, kid. You're only 1 year off. It was 1969. It was during the Woodstock Festival. How could you possibly have known that? And he didn't answer me. And that's when I realized they had just made him up for the purpose of that joke. Anyway, it feels great to be back on stage again because I had gone back to my original job for a while, writing suicide notes for depressed people with writer's block. Then lately when I get bored just for fun, and you should try this, it's a lot of fun, I've been going to Chinese restaurants. I asked for the manager, and I complained that my fortune didn't come true. And that goes over really big, about as well as it did with you people. Only less enthusiastic. Now, Chinese is an interesting language, but it's not particularly sexy or romantic. You know, like sometimes you'll hear a woman say they like an accent. They like a guy with a French accent, or an Italian accent, or maybe a Spanish accent. You will never hear a woman say, when he speaks to me in that Chinese accent, I can't control myself. I get moist from that Chinese accent. Is it too early for moist? It's 7 o'clock, I don't know. Any kids here? I don't know. It means sweaty. You get all sweaty when you hear a Chinese accent. Now, I had a girlfriend who was Chinese for a while. Well, actually, she was Chinese for a long time. She was just my girlfriend for a while, and when she spoke Chinese to other Chinese people, it always sounded like she was yelling. I'm like, there's a language that could use some silent letters. When I was a kid, I had a friend whose name was all silent letters. His entire name was silent letters. Whenever he didn't hear anything, he thought somebody was calling him. He spent his entire childhood running home to see what his mother wanted. It's a very sad story. Anyway, I'm sorry to see so many people here tonight. I was kind of hoping for a smaller crowd. I like working small crowds. Basically, I like working one-on-one. I like entertaining one person at a time, which I'm afraid is what I'm doing right now. And then if that person would be kind enough to identify themselves, I would be eternally grateful. No, the truth is I like working small crowds because my agent books me in small rooms. The last gig he got me was the coat room at the Four Seasons. The coat room. In the summer. During a heat wave. It was a very small crowd. I'm just kidding. I don't have an agent. I got the coat room on my own. No, I do have an agent, and he gets me the weirdest gigs. Like, you know how some comics work these huge cruise ships? My agent booked me on a rowboat in Central Park. Just my luck, I did so well, I got a standing ovation, almost drowned. Next year, I'll be working a kayak. If that works out, I'll be entertaining one guy standing alone next to a puddle. Now, that's how my career is going. But don't feel bad for me. I did get some good news recently. I just found out I'm starring in a new poem. Very exciting. I'm in every single stanza. No, the truth is I am very excited because I took the plunge into real estate. I bought a men's room in Pennsylvania. And I know what you're thinking, owning a men's room sounds exciting, and it is. But there are some things I don't like about it, and I'll tell you what, I hate when guys come in and ask if they can use my restaurant. I'm like, look, pal, I'm running a men's room here. You can't just come in here to use the restaurant. Have a little courtesy. At least take a leak first, you know, something, you know? It's like, didn't you see the sign? It clearly says restaurant for patrons of the men's room only. I got another sign that says, please wash hands before using the men's room. Well, I don't want anyone going in there with food on their hands. It's a brand new men's room. Confusing, right? A lot of things confuse me. Like, don't you hate it when you wake up in the morning and you're really in the mood to vote and there's no election? What do you do in a case like that? How do you take away that urge to cast a ballot? It's confusing, right? It's like, and you know that night recently when you had to turn your clocks ahead an hour at 2 a.m.? What if you're supposed to meet somebody at 2 a.m.? What time do you show up? At 1:59, you're still a minute early. 1 minute later, you're an hour late. You can't do it. It's impossible to do it. And have you never noticed, you never see an infant that looks familiar to you. You never hear anyone say, you see that infant over there? I could swear I know him from somewhere. Where is it? The office? The gym? A club, maybe? I don't... It's probably not a club, because a lot of clubs are very restrictive about letting an infant. And I know, because I had a friend who was an infant, and when we went out, there were a lot of clubs that wouldn't let him in. Personally, I think it was the hat. It was red and tied under his chin. I told him not to wear it, and he yelled at me. He said, "Stop treating me like an infant." Very confusing. But I'll tell you what else is confusing to me, that there are certain parts of the body that people don't seem to care about. I find that very confusing. For instance, people don't seem to care about their arms. That would explain the bulletproof vest. Because if I was a cop, it'd be like, don't you have something with sleeves? Maybe bulletproof pants, perhaps? I don't know, I've never been shot, but I don't think there's any part of the body that takes a bullet particularly well. So anyway, let me leave you on this. The weirdest thing happened to me today. I got a postcard in the mail. A postcard. Is that still a valid form of communication for 2014? A postcard? Really? Really? It's like, who's sending postcards in 2014? What was your carrier pigeon sick? You know? It's like sending someone a postcard is like saying, I want to write to you, but not that much. Well, think about it. When's the last time you got an important postcard? You never see a guy running home all excited. Like, where you going? I just got this postcard from my girlfriend and I can't wait to read it. Well, turn it over. It's all right there. It's not even in an envelope. The postman already read it. Everyone in the post office read it. You're the last guy to see it. That's why they rarely send government secrets on a postcard. Postcards are usually mean anyway. All they say is, wish you were here. Well, if you wish I was there next time, invite me. Anyway, you guys have been wonderful. I'm Jeffrey Gurian. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Keep it going for Jeffrey Gurian.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And this Tuesday night, if you're near a TV, turn on Kroll Show at 10:30. I'll be on with Amy Poehler and Katy Perry in the finale of the season. Thank you again. Bernie Furshpan, everybody.
Jeffrey Gurian.